This is episode number 300 of the Homeowner Show.
Woo!
We weren't prepared for this episode, y'all, but we're glad you're here. Welcome to the show. My name's Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowner Show. Welcome to our complete surprise that we actually made it to 300. How you doing, Kev?
I don't know who's more surprised, but we're all shocked and awed.
Everybody out there is like just shocked that we were not prepared.
No, they're not shocked that we weren't prepared.
No, they're not shocked at all.
No,
and good for you.
Yes.
For hanging out with some unprepared dudes.
That's exactly
for 300
right.
episodes.
That's right.
Dude, 300.
300. I've said it before. I didn't think we were going to make it to like 20.
Yeah.
But
despite the fact that we made a list of like 40.
We did make a list of about 40, but I've thought my wife didn't think we'd make it past like 3 weeks. And she's still yet to see a single episode, which is impressive at this point. But we made it to 300, and I'll tell you, we were not prepared for it to be 300. Well, there should be like a celebration or something. But there's not.
Well, we do have a little shindig coming up.
We do.
It's our first podcast shindig.
Yes.
So
it'll be fun.
Yeah. So we're like, for those of you that are in the area, well, if you're not in the area, that's fine. You can come too. So election night, we've decided to have a little get together.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. I mean,
it might be a weird show.
It'll be a weird show no matter what.
It'll be a weird night.
Yes,
no matter what.
No matter what, it's going to be a weird night. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and that's kind of what makes it fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be watching and commentating on the results as they come in. We're gonna have a lot of special guests in the room. We're gonna be down at Thistle, which we've done one live show from there before.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time, but it's one of our favorite places to hang out.
It is.
We've got the private room, and then we have some VIP tables that are. We only have 3 tables left already.
Right.
Only 3.
Right.
So, like, if you want to be in the private room with us, let us know. You get a little, there's some incentives.
There are.
If you want to know what those are, reach out to me. There's some good incentives.
There are.
So, look, no matter your political persuasion, probably election night, you're going to need some sort of adult beverage.
Or 2.
Yep. and so for our VIPs, we're providing those.
Yes, we are.
So come
and some food,
some snacky snacks.
It'll be good.
It'll be good. Chef Trennis is going to be hooking us up with some yummy treats.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be a good time. So we're going to be a live show all night. We'll be watching the results. We're probably not going to make it to the end because it's probably going to go into the next day it always does.
It always does.
But we'll give you the latest and greatest up-to-date results as we find them. But we'll also be doing some interviews and having some conversations along the way. It should be fun.
It would be.
So hope you can come and join us.
Yeah.
It should be a blast. And part of the reason we're able to do events like this is that we have some incredible sponsors.
We do.
So, and 2 of those sponsors we're going to talk about for just a minute here. We got Lone Star Appliance Repair.
That's right.
I love these guys.
Yeah.
They are so great to work with. Just through the podcast, they're amazing to work with, but like as far as like the profession of what they do, such an amazing group of people. They put out a video today of them repairing an oven.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, just taking the whole thing apart and putting it back together. I mean, it was like a 2-man job.
Wow.
And that's the thing is like I think sometimes you think about an appliance repair person, like you're sending like one guy out, which I think is typically the case.
Sure.
But like they have the staff that they need in order to get the big jobs taken care of.
Yeah. Have you ever put an oven in?
I have.
Did you do it at my house? Did you help me at my house?
I did. I helped you. Yeah, I helped you at your house.
We had a double oven that we put into my house when I lived over by the lake. It's a lot of work.
It's a chore.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We're still friends, but
somehow. Somehow.
It's
because we had to get to episode 300.
We had to get to 300.
That's what it was.
And now we're through.
Yeah, now we're done. No, but I agree. These guys are great at what they do. They're very kind. They're very upfront. I'll tell you, one of the biggest problems that we try to solve here on this show from the beginning, from episode 1, it was how do homeowners not get scammed? Like how do we help them navigate this world of contractors? And I'll tell you right now, we would not endorse or sponsor a company that we wouldn't use ourselves.
Correct.
And so, look, we have used these people. We will continue to use these people. They are such good quality people, and we've said it over and over. We're going to continue to say it. Keep your appliances out of the landfill and repair them. And just, it's going to cost you less money, and you don't have to go find new appliances. So give them a call, 936-647-2364.
Right. And our other incredible sponsor for this episode and many other episodes is True Texas Solar.
Yeah.
So, look, guys, this is one of those technologies that's eventually just going to become so commonplace.
Oh, it is.
And I think one of the things that we lack on this subject is just education. Mm-hmm. And honest informants about what it is that's required in order to power your home efficiently, economically, and environmentally. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason we love working with True Texas Solar, is because these guys are just honest, upfront. I still remember you telling me about Josh just saying, hand me the phone, let me talk to your brother-in-law.
Right.
He's not even a customer. He's
Right.
not going to be a customer, but
Nope.
I want to make sure that this guy has all the right information that he needs in order so that he doesn't get scammed.
Right.
So that he doesn't get taken advantage of and gets the right kind of system in place.
Yep.
And one of the things, I think a lot of people don't realize that different companies get different incentives based off of the kind of equipment that they install, and which incentivizes companies to mainline one brand.
Of course.
And that's one of the things I've loved hearing Josh and his team talk about is they're not hung up on any one brand. Mm-hmm. One converter or one panel or one battery or anything. They want to find the one that's going to work for you,
right,
and your home, and it's going to be the best fit, not the one that's giving them the best kickbacks,
right,
because they're using their brand exclusively. Which I don't know if a lot of people know that or not, but that's true of a lot of the trades.
Oh, I mean, even your mechanic is putting in a certain brand of parts unless you specifically tell them to put OEM in, because they can get them cheaper, or they can, they have a better relationship with that brand, and it's normal to do that type of thing.
Sure.
But the problem is that only works if the customer is actually benefiting from that.
Yeah.
And many times the customer doesn't benefit from it. I mean, so ask questions and figure out what's going to be the best for you. And they do a great job with that. They're very, very knowledgeable. I've never seen a company hire so many unique individuals to make sure that they're so good at what they do. When you have a NASA engineer on your team, and you've got a meteorologist on your team, and
That's
you've
huge.
got
I think a lot of people don't realize that, how huge that is to have those kinds of guys on your team that are consulting and making recommendations alongside the guys who design these systems on a day-to-day basis.
Right. And look, whenever you have those types of guys on your team, it says not only I care about those issues in my company, it also says that those people, the meteorologist, the NASA engineer, they support this.
Yeah.
So whatever your thoughts are on solar, before you just write it off, give them a call.
Yeah.
Their number's 936-286-8325, and give them a call, and they'll talk to you.
Awesome.
It'll be good.
So tonight we're going to be going through the Adalov wireless bridge system. This should be short and sweet.
Yes.
Because it's not a complicated thing, but it's something I think a lot of people aren't aware of. And it's unique to guys who own property like me and you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to people living in a normal neighborhood, but if you have more than one building on your property, something like this could be really beneficial. So we're going to get into that in a minute. But man, we haven't, we've got this election night show coming up.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of stuff happen since the last time you and I talked.
Yes.
Has there been one moment in the political scene that stands out to you that was oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened? Or that was just today. Just today. What was today?
Just today. So my mother-in-law volunteered to go down to one of so today's first day for early voting.
Early voting, yeah.
And so
get out and vote, people.
Yeah. So, and let me tell you, if you were anywhere near a library or one of those voting poll places, it was chaos.
Sure.
There were people everywhere. People wanted to early vote, and I get it.
You want to early vote, so you're not standing in line on election day, but
right.
Lo and behold.
Well, and I'll just tell you, my I've never waited in long lines on election day ever.
Same.
And it's because there's so many more poll locations. There's so many, and a lot of people have already early voted. But I will also say that get out and vote. And if you're afraid that something might come up on election day and you might not be able to get there, early vote. It'll be worth it. And in some professions, it makes a difference too.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody legally has to be let off to go vote.
Right.
If you don't know that, by the way, talk to your employer because that is true. But she goes down and volunteers to talk about Prop A, which is the thing that we talked about last week with Dr. Mark Ruffin, the superintendent.
Great episode, by the way. Like I really enjoyed talking to him. Super smart dude.
Yeah, man. He's very good at what he does. He's
having to walk a tightrope for sure.
He is.
So
no, he absolutely is. And so anyway, we in case you didn't know, we're in favor of Prop A. And so my mother-in-law says, you know what, I'll volunteer. I'll go. People don't know about it still, so I'll go down there and I'll be around.
Right.
Well, she's hanging out, and apparently a fight breaks out between the some of the what are they called? Whenever you
pollsters,
not the people running the polls, but the people that are outside advocating for their party.
Okay.
What are those people called?
Lobbyists?
No, well, okay, they are kind of, but they're whatever they're called. Whenever they're out there, just you got the Democrats, the Republicans, whoever's out there, and they're wanting you to
that one scraggly Green Party guy.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You're walking in, and they're trying to hand you, here's how you're to vote, all these sorts of things, right?
Sure.
Well, one of the guys is staying out there. He's in a specific location, and the people running the polls are like, you can't be here. You have to be outside of this certain area.
Right, yeah.
In order, you can't.
There's boundaries.
There are boundaries.
And there's rules.
And so, and the guy was like, no, you're wrong. And it like, the police were called.
There was a kerfuffle.
There was. And the police showed up, and lo and behold, the guy that was out there, lobbyist, whatever they're called. My goodness, it's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But they have a name. Anyway, whatever they're out there doing was right. And the people running the poll place were wrong. And so it was just this whole big thing. And, whenever my mother-in-law was telling me, she's like, the police showed up, and I'm like, what happened? Like, was this like a Republican Democrat thing, or was it something else? And she was like, no, it was just trying to figure out where the boundary was. And, they were like, look, we have a legal right to be here. And the pollster said, no, you're supposed to be way out there. And anyway, so it will be interesting because here's the thing. This has been a weird election cycle with the whole Biden thing and then him dropping out and then, Kamala just kind of, finding a way to get in there without ever having to get, voters to tell them.
I don't think either one of you knew what it was called. I've never heard this word before.
Okay, what is it?
Electioneer.
Oh, no, that's not what I would have called it.
Yeah.
But electioneer, okay.
So they're supposed to be 100 feet away from polling stations.
Okay, well,
polling place.
Wherever they were apparently within their legal right. But
Texas election code 32.075, comma 81.002. Yep, that's it.
Okay, so nobody's going to remember that, but nor were they going to care. But it's been a weird election cycle whenever, some unprecedented things have happened, and you've got Trump out there who's very polarizing, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. Have you seen anything weird?
I've seen lots of interesting stuff.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, did you see, so here, okay, this one was interesting to me. Kamala the other day was having a rally.
Yes.
Did you see this?
I did.
Okay, so like she's having a rally and she starts talking about reproductive rights and abortion. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of talking about those things, these we now know as two young men, two young college students from the crowd yelled, "Jesus is Lord." Mm-hmm. And it's pretty, like you can hear it on her microphone while other people are cheering for whatever it was that she had just said. And she claps back at them and says, "Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally."
Wow.
And then says, "I think you need to be at the smaller one down the road."
Oh.
Right? And I heard that and I was like, okay, that was pretty witty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's been trying to make a move to the middle.
Right.
And I'm sorry, if you're moving to the middle in the United States, part of what you're trying to get is the evangelical Christian.
Yes.
So like to clap back at somebody that yells out Jesus is Lord, no matter what the context is, if you demean them, like that's probably not going to win you any popularity points with that crowd.
No.
What surprised me is how little was made of it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that they should have made a lot of it. It just surprised me that so little was made of it.
Right.
Because
by anybody.
By anybody.
Right.
You know, it was in the news cycle for all of like maybe 10 hours, but like you didn't hear Trump comment about it. And I haven't really heard any Republicans on, and I'm sure they have. I just haven't
heard it.
I'm pretty like, I'm listening to this stuff all the time. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I from both sides. I love all of it. It's just an interesting thing. I love the narrative. I love like, you know, seeing like where people's policy positions have been in the past and where they are now. Why are they making those decisions and changes and things like that? And she's one of the biggest ones that has changed her position on a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's I mean like it's pretty transparent.
She's changed her position on things within the last 4 years.
Yes.
Like this isn't something that whenever she was in her 20s, she was lobbying against something, and then now that she's running for president, she's changing her tune. No.
Yeah.
Since she's been in the White House,
changed her tune. Big time. I mean, like the biggest one that sticks out to me is the one on fracking. I mean, like, and that was a big deal because when she was running for president against Joe Biden, she made a commitment to end all fracking.
Right.
And now she's for it because I think she realizes because it's good for the economy. I think the biggest reason is that's a big voting point in Pennsylvania, and like she needs that state, right, big time.
Yeah.
If she wants a chance to win.
Yep.
And it looks like it's going to be tight. I mean. And that was so do you know the claim that she made about, you know, what everybody makes fun of her about is how she always goes back to, well, I was raised in a middle-class family.
Oh, yeah.
So one of her talking points in being raised in a middle-class family is that she worked for McDonald's.
Oh,
this has become a little bit of a controversy because like nobody is willing to say that she worked at their McDonald's. Like they can't find anything to substantiate that. And so what does Trump do?
Yeah, he goes after
He goes and works a shift at McDonald's yesterday.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he worked the fry station.
Oh man.
And then he worked the drive-through window. And
so funny.
Dude, he killed it.
Of course he did. He's a businessman. He's going to figure things out.
So, and I'm not saying that because
I'm not saying that as a political way. No, that's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it's really funny. And but like he also was just good,
right?
Like he was like really good with the customers. He was really good with the employees. Like he was telling everybody, like, this is such a great job. I'd love to have this job. Like, I'm so glad you guys are doing such a good job. But like, he's also like, show me how to do this. Like, he was just killing it.
He wanted to be there.
He wanted to be with those people.
Yeah.
And that was really evident. And what I heard somebody say about this, and I think this is probably true, is that when you're winning, you're having fun. And when you're not winning, you're not having fun. And it doesn't look like Kamala is having fun.
No.
And you know, but and I think that's just because she's not winning as much as she thinks she should be. She's still up in the popular vote. But it's really, really tight in the states that they need the swing states.
Right.
He's up in all the swing states, but not much.
Right.
I mean, like there's plenty of room for it to go one way or the other.
Sure.
So it's an interesting one. And then he, you know, they had the I think it's the Al Smith dinner.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was telling you about that.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay, so he had some good lines.
Yeah.
He had some good lines. He had some other ones that were just dumb.
Wait, what were her lines?
She didn't have any because she wasn't there.
Oh, that's what it was.
Right.
She didn't show up.
Yeah, she did not show up.
Okay, anyway, go ahead.
It's unclear as to why she didn't show up.
Yeah, but she made it very clear early, I'm not going.
I'm not going.
Yeah, she declined very quickly.
Okay, so historically, the last person to turn down a dinner at the Al Smith dinner when they were running for president was Mondale.
Who?
Exactly. So that was when Reagan like won everything.
Yes.
Like, I think he won 49 states or something like that.
It was a landslide.
Oh,
be a landslide. It was a landslide of landslides.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
That was the last time a candidate didn't attend.
Right.
Right? Now, she put together a skit.
And sent it in.
Right. And like it was so bad.
And it was disconnected.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, yeah.
I'm looking at, and like it was, I don't even, what's the girl's name? It's Mary Catherine Gallagher from SNL.
Yeah.
They ended up making
the Denise thing.
The Denise thing.
And didn't she do the, didn't she like do a skit off of the Denise skit?
I don't know the Denise skit.
Okay.
It could be. I don't know.
Okay.
That's just that you're referencing something I don't know.
Okay.
So
it's hard to explain or describe. So
okay.
If it was wrong, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's the character from SNL that they ended up making a movie about called Superstar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of?
No, not exactly.
Okay, so that's that person.
Okay.
But like that was 20 years ago.
Right.
That was like from when I was a kid watching SNL, and like it wasn't good then.
Yeah.
I never understood that skit. I mean, like,
Right.
I got a few chuckles from it occasionally. Like it was a recurring character on SNL.
Right.
And the only thing I could think that made it relevant is like the Al Smith dinner is put on by the New York Catholic Diocese.
Right.
And so because he was Catholic.
Right.
And I think that's the only connection I can make is that Mary Catherine Gallagher plays a Catholic schoolgirl that wants to be a superstar. And like she's fawning over Kamala Harris. And it was just out of place.
Here's a headline. Saturday Night Live's take on this election is even more worse than you would imagine. And like this is all surrounding what she did.
Yeah.
And so it didn't look good for her.
No. And like it was just played off really, really bad.
Yeah.
But like then Trump gets up after Jim Gaffigan. Okay, and Jim Gaffigan roasts both sides.
Yeah.
And he does it
Expertly.
masterfully.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because either side walks away from his roast and is like, well, that wasn't very kind. And that means you did a good job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know?
I think, I'll just tell you right now, I'm not a huge fan of her, but one of the best roasters on the planet is Glasser.
Nikki Glasser?
Nikki Glasser.
Yeah.
She's unbelievably good at that kind of stuff. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. No, well, there's some really good roasters out there.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you like, top 5 roasters, I'm not thinking Jim Gaffigan.
No.
But like he did a really good job.
Yeah.
But what was impressive to me is that Trump gets up after him and gets some genuine laughs.
Yeah.
Gets some genuine laughs.
Yeah, he did well.
And it's because he's funny.
Yeah.
He really is. I mean, like for all of his faults, he's funny, he's entertaining, he's personable. He can do all those things. And I think that's part of the contrast is like he's a lot of things that she is not.
Yeah.
Now she can do a lot of things that he can't, for sure.
Yeah.
And politically, like she's just going to be more disciplined.
Sure.
She's going to stick to her talking points no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, he sticks to his talking points in a kind of an annoying way.
Yeah.
She sticks to her talking points in a very repeatable and rememberable way.
Yes. That's true.
Which is just more of a professional approach.
Right. Yep.
So I mean, she's got that going for her, but the problem is just nobody really likes her.
Yeah.
She's not a likable candidate. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, like some people just aren't liked like other people. It doesn't mean that she's unpleasant. It doesn't mean that she's mean or whatever. She's just not as likable.
No.
Well,
I think that anytime you have something that people can exploit very easily, like I grew up as in a middle class family,
right,
or the fact that she talks in circles.
Yes.
I think that anytime that is so exploitable, and I think Trump has his own things, like where he just flies off the handle, doesn't answer or he's rude. Like there's things about people that it's exploitable, and whenever you can do that, it's like, man, that's annoying.
Yeah.
And whenever things are exploited and they're annoying, that's whenever it's like, I don't like that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's true of anybody.
Oh, for sure.
So, anyway.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting one. I mean, I'm not going to repeat some of the jokes that Trump told at the thing because there's some inappropriate nature, some of them, but like hilarious.
Yep.
Hilarious. But anyway, and the other thing is, what I'm interested to see in this election is this is the first time we've had candidates really go after the new media as a platform to get their message out. Mm-hmm. And Trump way more so than Kamala.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you probably couldn't count on both hands the number of podcasts he's been on now.
Oh, no.
And, like, big name podcasts.
Yep.
The only one he hasn't been on is Joe Rogan, and he's insinuated that he's going on there.
Yeah. And he probably will, because you know why? He doesn't care.
No,
he doesn't. He cares about a lot of things, but he doesn't care about going on those things and getting slammed with questions.
No. He doesn't mind
care.
it. I mean, like, I watched an interview he was on Dave Ramsey.
Oh, really?
The other day. And it was a great interview. I mean, Dave asked him some really good questions, and Dave has come out and said that he's voting for Trump, but he's also said that he'd be happy to have Kamala on, and that they've reached out to her and with no response.
Yep.
And I think that is something that should be telling to a lot of people, is that she's really only gone, except for Fox News, really only gone after friendly places.
Right.
And Trump, I mean, like, I don't think he's turned down one that's worth his while.
Right.
What's interesting to me is the roadblock for Rogan is not Trump, it's Rogan.
Oh, really?
Because in the past he said he won't have him on because he didn't want to help him.
Oh.
But he's kind of changed his tune in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Since the 2020 election.
Right.
And he hasn't come out and said he's not having him, but the Kamala campaign also leaked that they're trying to get on Rogan.
Interesting.
Which I don't know why she would do that.
No.
Like, he is not a fan of hers.
No.
Like, you want to talk about somebody that doesn't give a flying fart in the wind as to what comes out of their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And the kind of questions. I mean, he doesn't care who you are.
Nope.
He'll just ask it.
Yep.
And
you know who doesn't want to talk to you, or who doesn't want to talk to him, I should say.
Right.
Jerry Jones. Did you hear anything about that?
No.
Oh my goodness. So after the incredibly horrible loss that they had to the Lions, which was now 2 Sundays ago, on Monday, Jerry has a regular radio show that he goes on, and they ask
It's not his show, it's somebody else's
exactly.
show. Okay.
He goes on, and they ask him questions about what's going on and everything, and he basically tells them, like, I'm not going to answer your questions. And they were like, we're just asking you questions that people want to hear. And he says, in no uncertain terms, he says, if those are the questions you're going to ask me, I'm going to find someone else to ask me the questions that I'll actually answer. Which everybody interpreted to say was, I'll have you fired, and I'll find somebody else to ask questions. And it's like, look, dude, these are not, like, unbelievable questions.
Right.
These are questions like, can you explain what happened? Like, because you got beat like a little school child. Like, it was awful. But to the point that you're making, like, Rogan will ask whatever, and these were reasonable questions. Rogan will ask whatever.
Yeah.
And he does not care.
No.
And he will come back at you until you actually answer it.
Yeah. Or make you defend your position,
right?
Until it becomes ridiculous.
Which she'll just talk in circles. That's going to be the problem.
But like that. That's what I'm saying is that would be the worst case scenario for her, because then she's stuck in that studio. Like, she doesn't have anybody. Like, you go into Rogan's studio, like, it's just you and him.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Did you watch the Fox one?
Yeah, I watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it.
If you watch to the end. And I heard Brett Baer in an interview later on saying, like, no, I mean, her people were telling me I had to rap it. And like, they were giving me a hard rap, and like, and he was saying, like, I had 75 questions written out. Ooh, and that's what he was kind of defending himself a little bit, because people were going after him for, like, interrupting her. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I was prepared because I figured that she was going to try and filibuster so that we didn't have as much time. And he goes, she had already shown up 10 minutes late from what they had told me they were going to show up, and I'd only been given 25 minutes, which got cut to 17.
Wow.
You know, and so like I only had so much time, and so like when she starts talking in circles, I just wanted to cut her off so I could move on to the next thing.
Right.
And it came across as like aggressively like, well, I want you to shut up.
Right.
Which, I mean, he said wasn't his intention, but like, look, if you're going to just talk and say nothing,
right.
I want to move on to another subject
right.
or move on to another part of the question or press you on the nothing that you're saying. Which, I mean, like, look,
it's fair.
Look, I've seen interviewers do it to Trump because he'll do it too.
Oh, he will.
You know, I mean, like you ask him, like he did that in the debate where they'd ask him one thing and he just disregard it and just talk about whatever it was he wanted to talk about.
Right.
I mean, it's a tactic that they use.
Yes.
And then, like, if you talk long enough, no one remembers what the question was. They just
right.
remember that you talked for like the last.
Which is one of the big problems that people had with the debate is that the people, the moderators, are supposed to bring you back.
Yeah.
Or to cut you off and figure out a way to bring it back, but they didn't do that well at all.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. But him running the McDonald's line, man, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was well done. I don't know that it's going to have any sort of like big effect on it I don't know, maybe. But like the interesting thing about that whole thing, man, is one thing I've heard him repeat a lot this election cycle, which I've never heard him talk about before, is folks saying they've been asking him, how do you have such good kids? And the thing that he keeps repeating is he goes, I drilled into their heads, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. And he says that he has never had a drop of alcohol in his life. He's
really?
Never had a cigarette in his life.
Huh.
Never taken drugs in his life.
Interesting.
And part of it is because he had an older brother that had a real problem with alcohol.
Okay.
And I think maybe some other substances too, but alcohol was like his big demon.
Sure.
And he said he was able to watch his older brother, and his older brother told him, look, you want to be happy in life? Never touch this stuff.
Stay away.
And he said he put that into all of his kids' heads. And he says that he thinks that's a big part of why his kids turned out so good is because he really ingrained in them, like, look, this stuff is bad for you. Stay away from it.
Yep.
It's not bad advice.
Right.
Not bad advice at all. I don't know that that's the only thing.
Sure.
You know, but like for whatever reason, I mean, you know, he has good kids.
Yeah, he does.
Solid kids.
Yes, he does.
So anyway, let's get to this Adalov thing, man.
Let's do it.
One of the struggles that we had when we bought this place is we were going to be existing in all three buildings on the property. And none of them were really connected other than through electricity. And like, look, in this day and age, like you need internet in order to do any kind of work from home.
Right.
And so we, you know, not only did we need it for work, but like, look, we weren't going to have cable. We weren't going to have, and we wanted to be able to like stream stuff. We have TVs in all the different buildings for entertaining and, you know, just for practical purposes. Right. Honestly, I mean, we use them for other things. And so we needed internet in those buildings. Well, so the easiest thing that we could think of at the time when we bought it was to just hardwire everything together. Right. Run Ethernet cables. And so we dug ditches and what you looking for?
I'm just looking for what model is it?
Oh, CPE 369.
Got it.
So anyway, we put, and it's still there. We still have all the wires and stuff in place, but we put electrical conduit in the ground and ran 500 feet of Ethernet cable. Like we even put one underneath the driveway to get from one building to the other.
Wow.
And so, and like, you know, like right now we're operating off of this new system, but up until 2 weeks ago, we were still operating off hardwire, which you would think
it should work.
It should be better.
Yeah.
Hardwire.
It should be.
Should be better.
Yeah.
The issue is we were hardwiring one modem into another, not one modem, one router into another router.
And they had different IP addresses.
Right.
Because,
and then we kind of had to daisy chain them. So we had to go from one router into another router, out of that router into another router.
Okay.
And so we were having signal degradation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great.
Yeah, because and what's really happened in, you know, so we had an issue in our previous house that we lived in to where I mean, you remember it was a 1-story house, but it was funky the way the layout was. And
right.
our wireless router was at the front of the house. At the back of the house, you couldn't get anything. So we wound up going with a completely different router that had a mesh system. Mm-hmm. And the mesh system has been really good for a lot of people's homes that have multiple levels, large homes where a router is in a corner and not in a central location, to be able to really canvas the entire place. But the problem is you wind up with quite a bit of signal loss, and you're also doing, whenever you're doing wireless, you're dropping the amount of power that can be put through, the internet speed that can be put through that system. So,
right.
So it's still really good, and it's still very, very valuable. But I am curious what some of the advantages to this is, because one of the things that I've found is that this is a wireless bridge,
yes,
instead of a mesh system.
Correct.
And those are two different things. Do you have any idea what the difference is?
I honestly don't.
Well, okay.
I from what I understand with the mesh system, it's several units working together simultaneously.
Yeah, it is.
And bridge is like a point to point. So like the other two are not going to be necessarily helping the other one.
Right.
Right. Whereas like a mesh system, I think they're all sort of collectively working together to create that
so
wireless system.
Here's the difference. So a mesh network, basically it's more of a multi-purpose solution, because it's designed to basically take an entire network or a segment of a network and deploy these wireless things, these wireless systems to outlets and other places of your home. And they're really a good choice for whenever you've got different environment changes, and you've got weird interferences like walls. Walls are a problem. And so mesh systems work well through walls and different things like that. A wireless bridge, however, it can connect multiple different networks.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that a mesh system cannot do. It is only going to connect to one network, where a bridge can connect to multiple, and you can allow devices to communicate wirelessly over a massive distance.
Yes.
As opposed to a mesh system, they basically have to be able to daisy chain to each other, and they do not have most of the time you're looking at like 50 feet.
Right.
Is kind of a max whenever it comes to that. And so the difference in a bridge is you've got really, imagine it this way. A mesh system does not have to have line of sight. Mm-hmm. And a bridge system needs to have line of sight.
Line of sight's crucial.
So that's a really, really big difference. And because of that, whenever you put a bridge system in, you can connect literally, and I know this one doesn't do this, but you can connect hundreds of miles.
Yeah,
together.
So this one is ranged with clear line of sight up to 3 kilometers.
Which is one. This says on their website, so I'm taking it directly from them, and because I don't know conversion.
It's 9,842 feet.
It's 1.9 miles.
Yep,
almost 2 miles.
Yep,
which is really good.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way, Craig. If you had 2 miles of property, which you don't, it would be amazing, but you don't.
Yeah. When I do, I'm getting one of these.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so basically, that's one of the differences between a mesh system and a bridge system.
Yeah.
And so a mesh system, think of it this way. A mesh system you would use typically within your house.
Yeah.
And a bridge system is going to connect buildings.
Yes, which is exactly what we needed it for.
Sure.
One of the other things that it's really, really useful for that we're not taking advantage of is it's PoE.
Yes. Which means?
Power over Ethernet.
Yes.
Which makes it easy to plug in where, as long as you have a power outlet nearby, you can plug this thing in.
Right.
And you just need an Ethernet cable from that plug to the device.
Right.
But one of the other things that you can do is you can get a PoE security camera.
Yes.
And so you can have a security camera connected to your network from a long distance away.
Right.
So like for someone like you, someone like me, whose house is a long ways from the road, but you'd like to have a security camera at the front of your property so you know who's coming and going, you don't have to hardwire that thing now. You could get a bridge system like this and put that camera there.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this one in particular pretty unique, is because most bridge systems that I found were just point to point. Right? And so what I found on this one is I had one distribution point and then 2 end receivers. So I could split that network and have 2 separate signals running that were equally powerful.
Right.
And so like if you're looking at it going, okay, well I don't need, I need one from here to like my shop, but then you'd like to put in like a security camera at the front, you now have the ability to do that.
Right. And let me tell you another reason that this would be helpful. So one of the things
without having to run power for the camera.
Exactly. So which by the way, we've got 2 pillars at the front of our property. You kind of drive in, and at the top of those pillars, there's lights. And we do have power out there, obviously, because we have lights.
Right.
And there's even outlets out there, which is great. But one of the things that I really, really wanted to do is I wanted to buy hue lights to put in there. So like at Christmas or Halloween or whatever, I could change the color of the lights.
Sure.
Very easily. However, in order to work those things, you have to have internet. And I mean, there are pretty good ways from my house.
Yeah.
And so getting internet out there is almost impossible because you need to connect it to the app.
And even if you did have internet out there, that internet would have to be connected to the network that the hub is plugged into.
That's the only option that you have. So what I could do with something like this is I could put one of these out there, and I would be able to run lights and a camera.
Right.
Which I wouldn't be able to run that camera either because, again, it's got to connect to a network somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I could run both of those things from a pretty good distance. And so if you've got a property where you kind of want to know who's coming in and out of your property, that's a huge option.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So one of the other applications that I thought about with this, I mean, especially since we have a lot of contractors that listen to the show. Yeah. This would be incredible for some work sites. You know, especially like bigger projects where like you roll in your like essentially a mobile home, right? Like one of those smaller ones that they use for offices all the time. But like you need a network and you need to be able to, you know, produce internet for your staff on site. That's a long ways away. Yep. You know, or you have again security cameras that need to operate on a network. It's much easier to put those things out and then connect them to that bridge without having to run a hard line. That you can connect point to point. Right. Now, if, you know, obviously if a criminal knows what's going on, they can, you know, exploit some of those vulnerabilities pretty easily. But
they have to know it's there.
They have to know it's there.
And yeah. So.
Yeah. Or even what it is that's causing all of it to work together. Right. You know, but like has a lot of utility. You know, and again, like it's not easy. It wasn't easy to find one that had 2 points. It's almost, and like I found out about them, and we've had Jared on the show before. He's a friend of both of ours. Super smart guy. He set it up at his house and was showing me about it. That's how I learned about it. He was telling me like that was the only practical way he could think to get internet out to his shop. Right. And it works, and he works out of that shop. I mean, that's his office. Right. That's where he does his job. And so he needed a secure internet connection in order to do his work. And so like it has a lot of utility, and it's. I mean, like and ours are. I mean, I guess they're about 150 feet. Yeah, from point of origin.
It's nothing like miles.
No.
Even though it would,
it would do that. It would do it.
And they have models. Like I'm looking at one of their models right here that it's 3.1 miles. Right. And these are just like residential type things. These are not any commercial device that you're going to pay, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars.
No, I think we paid like $220 for this thing. Yeah. I don't know what the price is.
Which is not that much different than buying a mesh router that would do these things.
No, yeah. I mean, like, did you look it up on Amazon?
I did not.
I'll look it up real quick.
But yeah, I mean, they do have point to point. They have like a 2 package bundle. They do also have these that will do 2 points
Right.
from a single point.
Okay,
as
so
well.
I mean, just to give people an idea, like the standard model right now which is point to point, just receiver transmitters, $213.
Okay.
Typically $299.
Okay.
The one that I bought is currently on sale for $224.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No.
Okay.
I will say line of sight is crucial with this.
Yeah.
If you try, and it has to be, if you're connecting building to building, and that's the other, it has to be outside.
Right.
And because somebody that was helping me install it was trying to get better signal inside the building and put the unit inside the building. And they were like, well, I don't understand why I'm not getting signal. I'm like, because you don't have line of sight.
Right.
So you got to have line of sight in order for these things to connect properly. So that, if you're in an area that has a lot of elevation, that could be challenging.
Sure.
So
let me ask you this, and you may or may not know, so one point has to connect to each point, or can they daisy chain?
They say that it can, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, it's best if both receivers have line of sight to the transmitter.
Okay.
And it's all like they all look the same, but they're designated as you pull them out of the package.
Sure.
And they're set up. There's not really a whole lot you have to do.
Dummy proof.
Yeah, I mean, it basically it clones the network that it's pulling from the inside of the house and just rebroadcasts it.
Yeah.
Now it's not. If you jack it into the network on the inside of your home, for instance, because like we have a whole separate Wi-Fi system for the inside of our house.
Right.
It pulls from that and then rebroadcasts that to the other receivers.
Right.
Those other receivers are now new networks that have a different password, a different network name.
Okay.
But I can seamlessly walk from the inside of my house, outside of my house, and I now have full internet coverage all on the outside of my property.
Okay.
As well as inside the buildings that I sent them to.
Okay. Because they're still broadcasting a radius
near them.
Yeah. As well as but they're doing that by connecting to each other by line of sight.
Correct.
Okay.
So, but then like the one in the building that we're in right now, we took an Ethernet cable out of that and ran a separate wireless router inside the building that is now rebroadcasting that internet signal in here. And that's actually what the show's operating off of right now.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, now we don't have as strong of a wireless signal as we used to.
Sure.
But like we're not having any issues.
No.
Getting stuff out.
It's still working.
Because if we had, we would have pivoted and done something else. But like it's been nothing but perfect.
Yeah. So and it's possible that some of those things could be upping the amount of bandwidth that you have, or whatever. So there's different ways around some of those problems as well. And are y'all are on fiber?
Yes.
So the type of signal you have coming in could make a difference. But
oh yeah, if it was like on coax or something like that, I would have less confidence in it for sure.
Sure.
We got super lucky that they brought fiber into the neighborhood.
Yeah, us too. Yeah. Well, it's a really cool system. You can find more at their website, which is Adalov, ADALOVUS. .com.
And all their units are for sale on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is interesting because the actual product that you have, I don't see on their website, but it is on Amazon. So they may even have some different models available on Amazon. So
I think actually mine is $249 on here right now.
Okay.
I think that's mine right there. I think but they have multiple ones that you can look at.
Yeah. Very cool, man. I don't have any other questions. I mean, it's a pretty
simple product,
simple
but like
product.
I think a lot of people just are unaware that it even exists.
Yeah.
As an option for, like one of the most popular builds in homes right now is a barn dominium.
Yes.
And typically those have metal on the outside, which means if you have a Wi-Fi signal on the inside, it's not gonna get outside very easily.
No, in fact, my mother-in-law has that issue. She's got a metal home,
right?
And yeah, it holds the signal pretty well,
right? So like if you hardwire a bridge system to the outside of your house as a transmission, and then send it outside, you now have Wi-Fi all around the outside of your home,
right?
And a pretty strong signal,
right?
So as long as there's line of sight, and you don't even need like one of the bigger ones, you just need one of the small. Like if you're just trying to cover like an outdoor kitchen,
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you have a barn.
Yep.
And you don't want to run a hard line all the way out to the barn because it's a long ways away.
Yep.
Like, look, you can put a bridge system in and just run it to the barn, and then you've got Wi-Fi at the barn.
You're good.
And so it's a solution to a problem I think a lot of people are probably trying to solve, and just don't know that this is even an option.
Yeah, and look, we just live. I know some people are probably thinking, oh, you trying to get internet out to your barn, huh? Well, there's so many reasons to be connected.
Yes.
And so many devices that we have that they need to be connected.
Yeah.
And so, this is a really big issue that people have. And sometimes whenever you're talking about running, hundreds of yards, thousands of yards between one building and the other, this is a really good option.
Well, I mean, just another quick scenario that just came to mind is like one of the more popular things that I think is happening with a lot of homeowners right now is keeping chickens.
Oh yeah.
And around here it's not uncommon to see a neighborhood where you have properties that are in 1 to 2 acre sizes.
Oh no.
As a standard for the neighborhood.
Very normal.
And that can, and so what do people do? They put a chicken coop in the back.
Yep.
And so raise chickens, they can get eggs. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Well, one of the problems they run into is they get raccoons, they get possums, they get snakes, they get, even around here, the occasional fox.
Right.
Get in the chicken coop and eat your chickens,
yep.
Suck your eggs. I mean, it becomes annoying, and you get out there and all you see is the aftermath.
Right.
You don't know what's going on. Well, with something like this, you can put in a live feed camera.
Right.
That connects to the network in your home.
Yep.
And you can check on those
Yep.
chickens. Like, what happened last night? I don't know. Well, let's run back the tape.
Yeah, and how did that how did that animal get in?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
where are my weak points?
Exactly.
And so like it's little things like that give
yep.
you options that you just didn't have.
Right.
Like what a lot of people do with that is they put a game camera. Mm-hmm. And you can even get a cell phone game camera. But let me tell you guys, there's a delay on a cell phone game camera, sometimes by like 30 minutes, even if you're close.
Wow.
And so like you're not getting real-time feed.
Right.
There are ones that will do it, but like the ones that are pretty affordable that most people get just don't give you the real-time response like that.
Right.
And so having something like this available where you can actually put in a PoE camera, and let it do its thing.
Right.
Want to check on, put a live feed on the chickens. You can make your own YouTube page.
Yeah.
It just,
it's true.
There's stuff you can do.
Yeah, sure.
That, just options you just didn't have before. So it's super cool. It's opened up a lot for us.
Yeah.
It's, allowed us, before we have the party deck over here with the swimming pool, it was challenging sometimes to like if people want to get together and watch a football game or some big event that we want to, put on the projector on the party deck over there. It was challenging to get a signal over there from time to time.
Right.
Not a challenge anymore.
Right.
You got full signal.
Yep. That's awesome, man. That's really, really helpful.
Yeah. So
cool.
Anything else?
No, man, I think that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's episode or this morning's episode, depending on whenever you listen to it. We appreciate you being here. And again, do not forget, November 5th, we're going to be at the Thistle from 6 to 9 is when we will be there. So come hang out with us. We would love to see you. And
6 to 10.
6 to 10. Same thing that I said earlier.
Yep.
Only different. Thank you guys for being here. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya.